So what is it that you could accomplish if you stopped focusing on what you lacked and you allowed yourself to see what it is that you already have? Scarcity isn't just a lack of resources. It's a way of thinking that keeps you stuck. Reversing a scarcity mindset is about breaking free of the fear of not enough, stepping into a world of abundance. If you're anything like me and you're striving to make the most of your finite time, then I'm sure that there'll be one or two interesting takeaways that we'll be able to use and apply in an effort to be sure that we're making the most efficient and effective choices we can. Because when we start to learn to identify the scarcity-driven thoughts, when we start to reframe them and build habits that foster growth and gratitude, we will inevitably begin to unlock new opportunities, deeper relationships, and greater fulfillment. If you don't know, my name is Chad Joshua, and I'm working towards writing a 100-song catalog. I write songs about populism, freedom, and liberty, and this is my artist channel, which I use to promote those songs. In my free time, I like to make these videos in order to consider the things that could be done to make a better go of it and to see that we're implementing the best strategies that we can toward whatever goal we're working towards, the challenge we're trying to overcome. Because no matter what your pursuit is, you owe it to yourself to make sure that you're building skills and refining them. See to it that you can accomplish what it is that you're trying to. You know, the scarcity thinking is like looking at the world through a keyhole. You only see a fraction of what is available to you. Whether it's a lack of time, a lack of money, a lack of support, that practice of being fixated on what you don't have is something that, if it isn't addressed, will become all-consuming and detrimental to any possibility that could be perceived as favorable. So what is the scarcity mindset exactly? Well, it's your internal belief. It's a belief that resources like time, money, opportunities, or support are finite, and that fosters fear, competition, and a sense of limitation. One of the signs that you're falling into the bad habit of this is whenever you find yourself fixated on what it is that you don't have in order to do what it is that you're doing, or when you find yourself making fear-based decisions and avoiding risks or hoarding your resources. You could also determine that you fall into the trap if you spend too much time focusing on how jealous you are of your competitors or those others that are doing the things and excelling in the ways that you would like to. But it's recognizing these patterns that is the first step towards doing anything about them. And for me, in my pursuit, writing 100 songs, I decided to choose this topic today, not because I'm a particular expert on dealing with them, but rather because I'm guilty of doing them, and not just doing them brilliantly well. So for me, I see this as an immediate focus that I need to take action. And the best way that I know how to do that is to bring it into my own awareness by having this talk, by sharing my own struggles with these issues as it relates to my pursuit, in order to better hold myself to account. And at the same time, if you're out there and you have the similar bad habit of this, then maybe we can work together towards finding our way out of these particular bad habits. So let's just go down the list. Let's start with time. I spent the early part of my adult years just allowing myself to indulge in chaos, and I've spent the last decade trying to atone for that in a lot of ways that I have. But all of that's just got me to a place where I now am in a position to sit down and work on writing and work on song production and practice mixing, all the things that I've studied my whole life, went to school for, just didn't ever allow myself solid footing to make a go of it. And I don't have any false illusions at this stage of my life where that might lead me. My only North Star is that it serves as a way to satisfy compulsion that I have as an artist to create something. That said, I am constantly wrestling with the mental gymnastics of going out to promote that art at this point, and the taxing nature of realization where I know how much time that I stole away from myself, and while all the while I was completely unaware of it. So now I'm here doing my best to make the most out of what I have left. And this is so prescient for me that even last night I was having a discussion with my father, about how well I am, or how adept I am at dropping the ball in so many facets of my life. And he said to me, at least you're not any older than you are right now trying to do it. And he's right, but I have just such a massive problem with keeping that point in focus in this immediate now. That squares with me. But I'm certain that in the roller coaster of my thinking, tomorrow I could be just out of whack again. So my intention with all of this is hopefully to be relatable if you know where I'm coming from and you're trying to fix the same thing. And again, like I said, bring it into a more prominent position in my awareness. That way I can do a better job of keeping it in the forefront of my thinking. Then the next area would be support. And I do have my dad there, somebody that does encourage me just to do whatever I'm trying to do, which is fantastic. And I have a beautiful wife who's kind and supportive and into the fun of making this a project that we do together while we're editing all kinds of videos together and building a schedule and trying to manifest all of this into reality for each other. But past that, crickets for me. I don't have an audience there that's engaged with my music yet. I have a lot of people who take a look, and I have some very important people who have subscribed and are there to follow along, but not so many people yet that directly engage with the songs that I make or the videos that I create. And I just remind myself that keep trucking. You can't have a meal before you plant the garden, so to speak, but God help me that I have the fortitude to see this into the future just for the opportunity to overcome this challenge, because it is significant. And then the last has to do with the financial resource. So I am limited to a shoestring budget in terms of what it is and isn't that I can and can't do. I'm grateful to have what I can to do what I can with it. But as an example, last night I'm looking on X, Twitter, and I'm thinking I would really just love to pay for an ad to help promote my most recent song. But I hesitate to do that because, like I said, it's just a shoestring budget. But we all have our problems. I don't mean to be exposing myself in this way for any sort of a sympathy, only to demonstrate that this idea of scarcity thinking is something that is of a real concern to me. And if there's a way that I can make a better practice of looking at it all, so that way I could be more effective, then that's exactly what it is that I'd like to do. Because for now, it feels to me like I'm running on a treadmill, expending my energy, but I'm never really moving forward. How about you? What's happening in your life that reflects this scarcity mindset? Because I know I'm not the only one. What opportunities might you see if you stopped thinking resources were scarce? Smartest people that I can find who talked about this say that about shifting to abundance thinking, which I'm down. Some of the principles for that would be, first, to begin to trust that there's enough success and opportunity to go around. Shift your focus on what you do have and stop focusing on what you don't. And continue to approach challenges as an opportunity to improve yourself. It all starts with the practice of reframing the thinking. One of the ways you can do that is thinking in terms of gratitude, shifting your focus on what's going well, and doing that in the most genuine way you can. Start to look for possibilities in what you see as the limitations. Become generous. Share the resources you can to create connections and open doors. Abundance thinking starts with these kind of small shifts in thinking can compound into larger change. You have to think of it as planting seeds. You can't see the results immediately, but consistent effort leads to growth. What's one area where you can shift from not enough to what's possible? After we started to make these shifts, the next thing we have to do is start to form them into habits. That means to make a habit of doing this kind of gratitude thinking daily in order to reinforce your change of focus. Lately, I've been aware that this does have an impact. When I sit down at the end of the night before I'm ready to pass out, thinking to God, hey, God, thanks, all of these things. I do find that I wake up just a slightly better disposition than when I don't. But I am struggling with the consistency of that. But I'm saying it publicly to be held to account. The next thing you could do is stop competing so much. Start collaborating. Make a habit of that. I've done that completely not at all. So I must, for the sake of my best interest, let me use this moment to pledge to make some kind of an effort in this regard, to reach out to somebody this week and sit down and allow yourself to really map out what your success might look like. Make sure that it's reasonable and it's something that you can accomplish. Doing these kinds of things will help to reduce stress and will make everything seem more practical. Like I said, I'm not doing it in the most consistent way, but I'm going to take steps in all of these areas myself effective immediately. And I see it all as a means to build in momentum and definitely as a way to keep myself in a better headspace while I am focusing on being present in the process. So now that we've made a little bit of time to give this all a consideration. I want to wish you the best, and whatever it is that you're working towards, remember to keep your head up. I'm going to keep my head up. And if you haven't had a chance to hear my new song, you can listen to it here. We'll talk again soon.